Hi, I'm Lloyd from Bumstead Bicycles. I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk to you about buying an electric bike under $1,700. One of my opinions here is right now, the electric bike industry is like the wild, wild west. There are so many different brands and manufacturers, and it can get really confusing. So I'm gonna hopefully try and narrow it down for you, at least give you something to help weed out some of the bad and find the appropriate or a really great electric bike in that lower price point than the crazy $5,000 and $6,000 stuff you may have seen. All right, let's get started. So here's a bike from Aventon Bicycles. We carry these here in the store. One of my favorites. I'm gonna show you some of the things you need to look for. Everybody gets all caught up in, oh, how many watts is the motor? How big is the battery? How far can you go? Some of the questions though that are really important to ask are things as far as if something fails, is it easy to get fixed? Can you get replacement parts? Does the company have replacement parts? And things, and this is real simple, plugs on the wiring. If I have to replace this brake lever, I don't have to, because Aventon supplies this with a nice plug right here, easy access, this lever easily replaced, a lot lower labor costs. A lot of companies, to save money, will not put plugs in. They will hardwire this all the way down into the frame to the controller that's hidden inside here. Basically, it's a big wire harness and a box that everything plugs into. If this brake lever needs replaced and I have to unplug it clear down here and string a wire all the way up, considerably more cost to having that replaced. This screen also can be just plug and play. One plug, undo a couple screws. You could replace this screen on your own. You get this, you fall, you crash, you break your dashboard basically here. You could replace that on your own. You wouldn't even have to take it to the shop if you're somewhere where it's inconvenient. Now, if you bought the bike from us, easily brought in and taken care of. But things like that, I have seen a lot of electric bikes under $1,700. You need to take the back wheel off. You've got to change a flat tire. Same thing. This bike, you can easily unplug the motor. There's a nice plug right here, easy to get to. Back wheel drops right out. I have had to change flats on bikes where you couldn't do this. I had to change the flat you couldn't unplug the back wheel from the bike without doing major wiring problems. So look for those small little things. Plugs everywhere help. The other thing to look for, especially if you can, buy it from where they have a brick and mortar store. Even if you got to drive 40 or 50 miles, if you're dealing with an online only store, how are you going to know what part you need? If there's a problem, you take it to a local bike shop. What are you going to do when they tell you, oh, I'm sorry, we won't work on that? How are you going to get it fixed? These are mechanical devices that will need service. Your car needs service, even though you bought it brand new from Chevy, Ford, Toyota, Honda. At some point, it's gonna need work. Bicycles need service. So if you buy one online and you thought you got a great deal for $700, $800, 6 months later when something goes wrong, and you take it to the local bike shop, you take it to local 3 bike shops, and they tell you, no, sorry, won't touch it. The manufacturer can't come to your house and fix it. Now you're calling them. Do they have a service center? What if their service center's 500 miles away, 200 miles away? What are you gonna do? So please look at that before you click that buy online. There's plenty of things, I'm not anti-online, but look at down the road, can you get it fixed? That's probably the most important thing on a big purchase like this is, are there service parts available? Part of why I turned down some of those bikes for repairs, I can't get parts for them. For bicycle parts, not a problem. I got a catalog this thick of bike parts. It has no electric parts in it. It has no screens. It has no brake levers that have the cutoff. It has no batteries, no controllers, no throttles. My biggest supplier of parts does not carry the electronics for this bike. I have to go to Aventon for that. I trust Aventon, they have parts. Make sure you can trust the company that the bike is made by, that they will have parts. After that, then you start looking at, okay, who's got the best motor, who's got the best battery? First and foremost, can it be fixed? If you're liking what you've heard so far, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, hit subscribe. There's also a feature where you can be notified every time I have a new video out, and just click the notify. It would really help for us to get your feedback on this. Thank you. So some of the things you want to look at on bikes from $1,700 and under is, think about the fact that you now have a motorized vehicle. You're going to go faster than you would under your own power. So one of my things that I like to look at are tires. Is it an E-rated tire? Right here, this tire from Kenda says eBike right on it. A lot of manufacturers will skimp there. It's easy to save money by putting a less expensive tire. The harm in that is that you're going higher speeds. You're probably going to ride it a lot more too. Going to go a lot more mileage. You need a good quality tire. Almost all bikes at these price points are going to be a rear hub drive motor. That puts extra stress on the back wheel. Does it have heavier gauge spokes? A traditional bike spoke isn't this thin, or isn't this thick, excuse me. So you need heavier duty spokes to add to that extra torque that's put on that back wheel. Also, very important, the quality of the brakes. Should be disc brakes at these points. I like to see hydraulic disc brakes. It's more of a power brake. It's like the brakes on your car. A lot of bikes in these price points you gotta watch. They'll use a cable disc brake, which does stop well, but not as well as the hydraulic brakes. The other factor is it a name brand brake? Probably one of my favorites on the cable ones is, it's a well-known brand, is Tektro. So, you know, if they don't list the brand of the brake and it just says cable disc brake, as a mechanic, I would rather have a good rim brake than a cheap disc brake. You know, that just because it's a disc brake doesn't mean that it will stop well. Hey, there's the shop key. Quality of the frames, quality of the forks. This bike, because you've added a motor to it, needs to be of good quality. You're going to be going for further distances, higher speeds. You know, is it made well? I've run into some manufacturers too. The frames are huge. You know, what's the standover height of the frame if it's a traditional frame? A lot of people on their frames too, as you can see here, this is called a step-through frame. The advantage here is that you don't have to swing a leg over to get on. You can physically step through. Couple advantages. One, now you have considerably more standover height for getting on and off the bike. The other, if I put a bunch of luggage on the back of this nice rack, now I have to swing a leg even higher to get over it. Can I even get over it? With a step-through frame, doesn't matter how high this is back here. I can easily get on and off the bike. Consider, is it a step-through frame? Again, I've seen a lot of the ones, especially with the big fat tires, the frame, somebody over 5'10" can't even stand over it. Most customers have their seat all the way down and they have to tip the bike over just to get on it. That's dangerous. You need to be able to get on and off your bike. Pay attention, what is the standover height of the bike? Know, you know, your inseam, and can you even stand over the bike? There's some of the features you should look for as far as the components on the bike. Battery manufacturer. Are they name brand batteries? That's part of the problem we had with those hoverboards and a lot of the battery toys that caught on fire, where they were using inferior batteries that would catch fire while charging. So pay attention. Do they list the manufacturer of the battery? Are they Panasonic, Samsung, somebody, a brand you recognize? The rear hub motor, is it a brand you recognize? What kind of a warranty does it have? Okay, so you want to think about your battery on your electric bike like a gas tank. The bigger the gas tank, the further you can go on it before you have to refill. A lot of the lower price bikes, one of the most expensive things is your battery. The bigger, it costs more to have a bigger battery. So look at that carefully. How far are you going to be able to go? How many amp hours is it compared, maybe that's why that one's $100 or $200 less. You may only be able to go 10 miles for that. Got to consider that. And 10 miles may sound like plenty, but on an electric bike, I'm finding most of my customers on an average ride will go at least 10, sometimes 15 or 20. Most of the higher quality bikes, they're going to have a minimum of 25 miles per charge. So, and the easiest way to compare, they call it amp hours. You can look and it'll say, 7, 8, 10, 15 amp hours. That'll give you an easy way to compare. So if a bike seems, wow, this is a good deal, look at that. That's the easiest place for them to cut the cost, is by going with a smaller battery. So definitely look at amp hours on your battery. So for a bike under $1,700, my personal pick or recommendation would be the Aventon Level. For, again, that price point, you get a very high amp hour battery, powerful 500 watt motor with a 750 peak, which means that it's going to give you the power you need to get up a hill. I like this as a great commuter bike also. Comes outfitted with fenders, rear rack, a front suspension fork to add for comfort and safety. Nice riding position. Aventon really puts this out there as the replacement of one of your cars. You could really do all of your errands. You could go back and forth to work, go to the store. Comfortable to ride, efficient, easily do a 20-mile round trip to run all your errands for the day. With this bike, no excuses to get in your car. You can just jump on this and buzz all over town, get everything done you need to do, and never have to fire up that old internal combustion engine. I'm really trying to work hard to give you guys the best information and the best videos possible. If you indicate in the comments below that maybe something I left out, a question you have, please put that in there and I'll try to address all of those. Thanks.